on the beat.
Welcome to round 2 of the Supercoach Take podcast. We have a very exciting week, a lot to discuss. So we are on SoundCloud at the moment and also on YouTube. So you can find us there, also on Twitter at Supercoach Take. And joining me as always is partner in crime, Anno. How you doing? And how'd your week go?
G'day, mate. How are you? Good to be back. Round 2. So this week, 2,332. Pretty happy with that. Ended averagely with Hayden Young in the last game, but I feel like always a player in the last game doesn't live up. It always does your head in. But up to just outside the top 1K now, so got to be happy with that. I think it's my best start in like 3 or 4 years. So can't be too displeased with that. How about you?
Much better than last week. I think we nailed rookie roulette this week, which helped. I still think those 100 points lost from Gordon last week is going to sting for a while. But we got it right this week, so I guess somewhat makes up for it. So ranked 2.5K and scored 2,385. So yeah, I had a really good week. Tom Atkins came through for me, which was a bit of a relief. Jack Steele had a good game, but I'm a little bit worried. He had to kick 3 goals to get 120.
Yeah, big full forward.
Yeah, about 15 minutes in the third quarter, he just played forward. But yeah, overall I'm okay with the team. A few things I need to fix up, but I did save a few trades. But I think the advantage here, I look around, I see a lot of really good teams, probably better than mine. And I just think if I can save some trades, I can make that advantage back later on. And also I think my rookies are almost perfect.
Yeah, that's the key. Yeah.
I think I can get rid of Scott this week, who I think gets dropped over McNeil. So maybe I have a slight advantage there. I'm not exactly sure who gets dropped there, though, but I think that's a likely case with a few defenders coming back for the Dogs, but we'll see. But yeah, leagues are also doing really well. We actually have 15 out of the top 30 in the
crazy
in the top 30 leagues. Some of them are meme leagues, I think.
I tweeted last night, so I sort of only mentioned the ones that you could sort of tell are our leagues, but a lot more of them are made up from a lot of our Discord members. So going super well. Hopefully we can keep it up.
Still very early, so it's going to be they're going to be probably, we all had a great week this week, so probably go down this week and then maybe jump back up after, so we'll see. But yeah, we have a lot of topics to discuss, so we need to discuss, we'll go over each line, so the forwards, the mids, rucks and defenders, and we'll go through, the must-haves, the guys that are scoring really well, some of the rookies as well, and, we're in a few tricky situations, and we're going to start off with the forward line. Usually we start with the defense, but we need to talk about Tex, I think. This is a very confusing pick because his break even is negative like 120 nearly. When you see a player that's negative 120 break even, you almost have to bring them in, right?
You always get them, yeah.
If it's a rookie, you can't miss that. But because he's 300k, it just complicates things. I don't think I can bring him in, but if you can bring him in, I absolutely would. Now, with Taylor Walker, I spoke about him on my video. Obviously, like his average last few years has been between 55 and 65 or something.
Yep.
He's been quite poor since 2017. Actually, that's an understatement. He's been really poor. But it's really good to see him bounce back. Full preseason, looked really good in the preseason. Crows are looking for him. The new rules definitely suit him because they're putting it in front of him rather than on top of his head. He likes the faster ball coming in rather than the slower ball.
Out in the lead.
And yeah, the Crows are doing better. Definitely better vibe around the club. What I will say is that he should play a more difficult opponent this week in Sam Collins. Played on Ramp, who's shorter than him, and also Kolodajny, who I'm not sure how is still in that team for Geelong. But having said that, he looks unbelievable. And if you bring him in, you probably make 120 plus K, which is fine, with significant upside. I don't think I can bring him in because I need to get Impey in. Are you bringing in Taylor Walker? Is that what you're considering?
After our old famous Tom Lynch last year, the key forwards, they got to scare you forever. But obviously, this is a different instance with that. I've just looked it up. Negative 114 break even. That's crazy. You can't think of not getting a player with a break even that low. But even if he scores like 250s in a row, he's still going up 100 to 150k. Like it's going to be an easy cash grab. And like you said, Suns this week may be a harder opponent, but then North the week after, like it could kick another bag of 5. The way sort of key forwards are kicking bags again, which is good to see. So he could kick a bag in the next round and go, get another big score and kickstart another like
Oh god,
3 round. So it's a scary prospect of like not having, worrying about maybe not having him and missing that because he can go straight up to, say that happens for like 500k and then you just flip him straight to like maybe if you don't have Dusty or if you don't have Dunkley or whoever you don't have, straight to them and then you've got a primo there. So it's a weird one. Like you, I don't have Impy. Unfortunately I flicked him at the last minute to make sure I had enough to keep Lockie Neale, which is worked out pretty badly. But so with me probably trading out Neale, I'm looking at getting Impy, and then to get Tex as well, it sort of feels like I'll be worse off scoring on the field as much as it might make my cash gen better. I'd have like 200-300 in the bank, and it just wouldn't make a lot of sense. So if you have all the rookies, like we're going to mention them later, but all the ones that are must-haves, if you have Impy, if you have Zeeble, all those types, I think Tex is definitely an option. If you've got, the thing is you need someone to trade out, and he's not 120k, so you need a Caldwell or maybe a Phillips in your case that you're not really happy with to go to him. So to the people, what would you say to the people that have amazing teams, which like you said, there's probably a lot of them looking around Twitter these days and had no one that they wanted to trade? Do you get Tex? Like, what do you think?
I don't think you compromise a primo for him.
No.
I think some of us pick Caldwell and Phillips as keepers, and obviously Caldwell has got to go. And at that price, there's not a whole lot of options that you can trust. Phillips gave me the shits, honestly. I just thought he'd get a different role slightly. That's fine. We'll move on from that. So I don't have the patience, even though if he bounces back, I don't have the patience throughout the years to deal with that, with all the incredible scoring going around elsewhere. With another thing with key forwards, I think there's about 5 or 6 averaging over 90 at the moment, and I know it's 2 rounds. But yeah, I think you don't use 2 trades to get him in. I think only 1 if you can. If you can get him in, you get him in, I think. But I've put a priority on Impy and James Jordan, who I should have got in last week, but that's another story. So yeah, I think the verdict is if you can get him in because he's going to make a lot of money. If you can't, then I guess just sit tight. If you bring him in and he goes off, it's going to be one fun show to watch, I think. As a Crows supporter, I'm enjoying him at the moment, but yeah, I think the verdict is get him in if you can. Look, don't be surprised if he scores 40, but at the same time,
just take the cash. Yeah,
it's a massive cash grab. But again, key forward could score 40, could score 130. So this week I don't expect too much against Collins, but against North, without Tarrant, it's pretty much free reign.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think verdict on him is get him in if you can. If not, don't move mountains to get him in.
Yep.
But it's just freaky the way he's playing, like what he can possibly do, and if you don't own him, that's my issue. So yeah, I would get him in if you can, but I just can't. So the other 300k player is Tom Atkins, which is an interesting one because I actually haven't watched him play until I watched him in the preseason, but I haven't been able to watch Geelong games. But from what I've seen, what I've read, contested rate's pretty high, which is keeping his score healthy. And he's getting a lot of the ball in defence and pushing up a little bit. Would I go Tex or Atkins? I'd probably go Atkins, to be honest, but it's just a really difficult call because I'm not exactly sure what Tex is going to do, whereas I think I know a little bit better what Atkins can do. And even Atkins at this stage is still a bit risky, but given his role, and if he stops giving away 9 free kicks over 2 weeks, there is some upside here. So I've seen enough from Atkins that I'm convinced that he's potential F6. I would bring him in if you can. Do you have any thoughts?
I think the risks are they're obviously totally different. Like Tex, if you bring him in, yes, it can go pear-shaped with like the poor on-field scores, but you'll still make you money. And then worst is in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you just trade him out. And he would have at least made 100K as long as he doesn't get injured. Whereas Atkins is a sort of a more different one. Like great start of the season. Like congrats on the pick, and he's like 1%, 2% owned. So it's a very good pick at the moment. And like you said, he's contested ball. I think is a main part of his game. Like yes, he's doing a halfback sort of gulling, which obviously everyone's scoring from this year. But that extra sort of contested stuff is giving him like a healthy floor as well. So I think the Atkins pitch is obviously better, and it has a chance to at least be in your side to the buys, and be a consistent scorer. That's a different sort of time frame. Whereas Tex could be literally 2-3 weeks. So I probably do still lean Atkins with you, but it totally depends. Like if you have Zeeble and Impey and you find, I honestly think I might go Tex just to like you got to take risks in this game. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
With like starting team, I tend to not, and then with some trades you can, because if you nail them, I think you said in your video, like if Tex is insane, it's a ticket to the top. Like he could. I said it before. Get to 500K and it'd be insane. It'd be you'd be ahead of everyone who didn't get him. So, yeah, I'd probably lean Atkins for the actual fact he's a possible keeper. It's probably a stretch, but yeah, it depends what you're looking for. It's so team dependent, a lot of this stuff, but hopefully we've put it out there and you sort of make the call based off that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm happy with Atkins' pick. I wouldn't be surprised if he falls off at some point because, he's been playing halfback for 3 months, not even.
Mm.
So it's a lot of uncertainty here. But, that's why we're in this situation where we've got all these 300K options and we're discussing them. So, yeah, I think you can go for it if you want. But it's definitely upside with Atkins. So I'm very happy with it and I would recommend him. It's just a matter of if you want to get him or not. But yeah. So the other forwards, probably the three. What is looking like 3 must-haves right now? Well, the first two are definitely must-haves. So Dusty and Dunkley.
Yeah, they're locks.
Yeah, so we need to get them in ASAP. Fortunately, I have Dunkley, but no Dusty because we were all going to pick lots of defenders and stuff this year, so it was a bit hard to fit in Dusty. I think he wants to win the Brownlow this year. Maybe he's realised that I can be the undisputed GOAT if I win the Brownlow here.
And I wonder if he thinks like that. I don't.
Maybe not.
It's probably true, but like the statement. But I wonder if he actually thinks like that. Who knows? But he looks insane.
Yep. So Bergwijn's tag was a joke against him. Had no chance. So yeah, I think I just wait for a bad game. Hopefully, I think Dusty's more likely to put in a bad game than Dunkley.
Yep, he's full.
So, yeah, we need both ASAP. But yeah, Dusty hopefully is at the right price at some point, and then good luck trying to get in Dunkley, to be honest. But yeah, we need to have both there, F1 and F2 for me. I have Dusty above Danger now, I think. So yeah, get them in ASAP. And then Zach Butters. This is doing my head in as well. So well done if you pick Butters. I guess you've got that 160. He looks really good, and the improvement in the preseason is there. Maybe he gets more mid-time with Rosie coming in. I'm not sure, but that seems logical, I guess. Would you be hurrying to get Zach Butters in if you could?
Hurrying? Not hurrying. Look, they have played North round 1 and Essendon round 2. They both look. I mean, North is probably a guaranteed bottom 2, and Essendon. I mean, I obviously didn't have finals hope for them, but they've lost their number 1 Ruck and 2 starting midfielders, so it's tough to see them finishing anywhere outside the bottom 4 as well. So, I think Butters is obviously a gun. Let's be honest. He's been doing this without barely playing any midfield. Like, how many CBAs did he have? Was it like 4 or something? 7. Yeah, like not many at all. It's almost like he just does whatever he wants. Runs, doesn't have an opponent, and just when Port are dominating, he just gets a heap of the pill. I wouldn't be rushing to get him in, but I think he'll regress obviously a bit and average somewhere in the 90s. I don't know where. If you've got him and he averages 100 plus, well then, well done. That's been a great pick. And I think, even with all of what I've said about Port, they're probably going to win 15, 16 plus, like maybe even more than that games. So he could be doing this for a lot more. So I don't see him as a must-have like your Danger Dunkley's, obviously, Dusty, sorry. But yeah, he looks insane right now. And you think he's only in is it 10% of size or something like that, which is been a great pick.
Yeah, I like Butters. I just think it's hard to put a ceiling on talent like this. I'm going to let this go, and hopefully the few bad games come in for non-owner's sake. But yeah, he's not going to be able to eat on bottom 4 teams every week. But yeah, he looks really good. You'd be very happy with the pick, and probably going to be top 8 at least, I would think. I think definitely he'll be better than Rosie. He won't fall off like Rosie, that's for sure.
No, different players. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess you can grab him if you want. I think there's priorities elsewhere though. But we'll see how he goes. So yeah, they're the main forwards. We can move to the midfields. We'll talk about the rookies at the end of the video. But yeah, the midfielders, this is an interesting one because there's a clear top 2, it seems, in McRae and Oliver. Brayshaw is scoring at their level. I'm not sure if he sustains it, but he's looking really good right now. So if you don't have McRae or Oliver, are they, like, if you have Neale, for example, are you going to say McRae or Oliver straight swap, or?
Yeah. If you didn't have those other two, McRae or Clarence, as I like to call him, you got to get them 100%. They're like Clarence was insane on Saturday night. Obviously, BOG for me, the first quarter was ridiculous. Mind you, against he's lining up on Steele most of the time, wasn't he? Who's no chump. And McRae's a pick. I mean, we know that we've loved him for years in fantasy, so just easy pick. If you don't have them, straight to them.
Yeah, they are priorities. They're captain options and vice captain options too, along with the Gordon Grundy.
Yep.
So yeah, before we get to Brayshaw, I think we need to speak about Lachie Neale and Patrick Cripps. So I think we can get Cripps out the way. You got to trade him, right? I think someone on Discord just said that Sam Edmonds said that he's playing through injury. Tom Brown has said he's playing through injury, and eye test certainly says that he's playing through injury or he's just regressed really badly. So you would agree we'd trade Cripps, right? If you have it?
Yeah, he doesn't. He looked good for about a quarter in round 1, and he just doesn't look like he's something wrong. I mean, it's probably always something wrong with Cripps. That's the thing. He's always got some sort of injury, it seems. But I think those 120 days are long gone. And I mean, at this rate, maybe 110's even a stretch for him. I mean, it's not it's actually not outrageous to say that he'll never average 110 again, as bad as it sounds. But he's averaged not 102, I think it is, for 2 years worth of games, which is, I mean, it's there. He hasn't sort of got it anymore. The torch has already been passed to Big Sammy Walsh. So, get him out for sure if you've got him. That's my opinion.
You can probably hold him for 1 week if you have other issues, but get him out when you can.
Yeah.
Lachie Neale. Okay. So I don't think anyone saw this coming. So I did not start him because of his calf issue, but I thought maybe he just drops 10 points or something. I didn't see this coming. He doesn't really pass the eye test at this point. I know our friend JD, he has a YouTube channel, did some footage review of him, and just the work rate was down for Lachie Neale, which explains why he's not getting as much of the ball, and he's playing 1 quarter every week. It's a lot of money tied up to this, and I have question marks over when he gets back to his form or anywhere near it, because he's nowhere near it right now. And given there's so much cash tied up to this, I think you have to trade, because there's just so many opportunities elsewhere. And I know people are saying it's Lachie Neale, you hold your premiums and stuff like that. He's going to drop 100k, and everyone's going to get him in for mid 500s probably. I know it's a trade, but there's just so much opportunity elsewhere, especially if you're getting a rookie. You could get Ridley and Taylor Walker right now. And yeah, Texas is going to net you heaps of money and get your F8 off the field, your F6. So you have Lockie Neale. Are you trading him this week?
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely, he's gone. It's not like I get the hold your premiums thing. I have done that, or been a big believer in that in the past. But there's after round 2, a sideways can always actually help your team. Like, you don't have to just believe it's going to put you backwards. It's a lot. He's 720k. Like, he has to live up to that if you're going to keep him. Like, I get he could come back and pop a 120 next week and everything, but I won't be upset about it because I've used his cash elsewhere to improve my team. And I'll have another player in there like a Tom Mitchell or a Dusty or someone who are going to perform as well. And I know are performing at the moment. That's the thing. I don't even know if you don't know for sure if Lockie Neale is going to turn this around quickly. And Brisbane, man, they look. I mean, they did all right on was it Friday to stay in that game
in the mud.
But they're in the mud. Like they still haven't left Melbourne. They're not going to now. They're playing the Pies on Thursday. The game's changed to Marvel. And then the next week they have the Dogs in Ballarat, mate, and the Dogs midfield. Like, they could be 0-4, and this team could be well and truly. Well, they are already half in the mud, but they could be fully submerged in the mud because that could be deadly. Like, you don't make finals barely from 0-2, even 0-3. Like, they're the Dogs the week after down at Ballarat, mate. I don't think they're lost down there. Like, Neale's gonna. I just don't like the situation. He's gone for me. You can't tell me otherwise, and I'm going to use his cash elsewhere.
There's more risk holding him than trading him. Because if he keeps underperforming and you have a 700k player underperforming for whatever reason, maybe is he still carrying some sort of niggle? We don't know.
Yeah.
You just pack up and go home if he continues this, and you have 700k bleed 200k. So there's just so much opportunity elsewhere, like a Tom Mitchell. Jordan Ridley, if you don't have Dusty or Dunkley.
Yep.
It's even like Oliver and McRae as well, who are going to be absolute nightmares to trade in the way they're going.
Let me put it this way. I've just thought of this. What's the worst situation of trading and what's the worst situation of not trading him? And tell me which one's worse.
Yeah, keeping him is potentially...
If you keep him and he doesn't turn it around, that is way worse than trading him to someone who you know is going to score, like a Ridley, like you said, and using his cash elsewhere, and let's say Neale turns it around and averages 120 from here on. That's not as bad as the alternative. Trust me.
Yeah.
That's the way I'm going to look at it.
Yeah, there's just too much opportunity elsewhere as well. So, yeah, downside is just not worth it. So that's Lockie Neale. So, yeah, I think our verdict is definitely trade him. The other guy who's averaging up there with McRae and Oliver is Andy B. A very interesting pick, and I actually think he could finish top 5 this year. I know that's a bit reactionary, but we know that his CBAs are up, and...
We like the hot takes, mate.
I'm not even sure it's a hot take right now, the way he's going. His CBAs are up. The time on ground... Finally, his time on ground isn't like getting shafted every week. And yeah, Nat 5, 1 CBA on the weekend, I believe. I know he was knocked out, but still, for 2.5 quarters, 1 CBA for 5. Brayshaw's the man now. I can't get him in, but I would if I could. I think this is real. I'm not sure 125 average is sustainable, but I think 110 plus for sure. I do remember watching him in the preseason. I did my top 5 most impressed in the preseason, and I think Brayshaw was 3rd on my list because all I remember was watching him just run everywhere. Wherever the ball was, he was. And Andy Brayshaw, he plays hard. Like, till the last quarter, even like I remember in games last year, like they were losing. Brayshaw in the last quarter was going at a billion miles an hour. Everyone else was tiring. So, yeah, I like this pick a lot. I would do it if I could. Do you have any thoughts on Brayshaw?
Well, yeah, after watching, like I sort of already knew Neale was gone from my team, but yeah, after yesterday's game, and I mean, they even tried to send De Boer to him, and he just brushed him off. I mean, De Boer's kind of washed at this point, let's be honest, but yeah, he's definitely got to be on the short list now that's coming in for Neale. It gives me a lot of coin, probably too much, but that doesn't matter if he's I mean, he's currently priced at 540. He can easily, and I think he will get to 600k. So there's no worries there. He's a gun. Yeah. I was never owned him last year, and it just you watched him every week, and you just like, mate, this guy is a gun, and he was just getting benched, by JL, and if he's out, he's a point. I don't know what the points per minute is, or that stat. He'd be well up there, with the best midfielders in the game for sure. It just seems whenever he's on in these 7 minutes sitting in the midfield, he just points, like he just scores. There's no period of time, like you said with Steele or whoever goes down forward. There's no period of time when he's in and on the ball that he's not scoring. Like he's just built for Supercoach, I think. So got to be in consideration. Can't ignore it.
It's hard to go past like Tom Mitchell for 500k more, because there is sort of risk given that he's unproven over a full season. Because he did slow down a bit towards the end of last year. But I really wouldn't have a clue if that happens again. But I still it is a bit more risky than Mitchell, for example. But I like the pick. I think it's fine if you want to go for him. And the last player we'll speak about is just the mid-pricer. So mid-pricers in the mids, big F in the chat for these guys, I think. Looks like they were all traps. Green's gone. Haitley didn't play. One we can quickly touch on is Willem Drew. He's getting a lot of mid-time, and he's playing over Tom Rockcliffe, which must mean they rate him pretty highly internally. I know his junior numbers were pretty good. I think in his draft year, his was like top 5 in terms of Supercoach points. So, I think you could if you wanted to, but I think I'd rather go for like an Atkins or Walker at this point. Which sounds a bit silly. It does every time I say bring in Tex Walker, I just like, oh my God, what's happening? Just because of the break even though. So
that's everyone.
I think it's an okay pick if you want. I think his time on ground's not super high, which is unfortunate. I thought he's worth a mention. I won't bring him in. But I think he was the one out of the 300k guys in the midfield.
Yeah, Heppel as well. I forgot we talked him up, but he's obviously
gone.
Yeah, just can't stay in the park.
Durability.
Yep.
So the Ruckman. There isn't a lot to discuss here. However, last year, everyone who didn't have Gordon Grundy was in the mud, basically. But this year, we have a bit of competition because they're playing. I think they played Darcy forward a bit more, and then Meek was rucking a lot. Scored 82, and then Flynn's looking really good. However, he plays Gordon Grundy back to back.
Yep.
So, is this a clear victory for Gordon Grundy yet? I don't think it is. What are you thinking?
I think Flynn at R2 people are fine as long as they have one of. What would you prefer, Gordon or Grundy as the other?
I still think Gorn slightly.
I think Gorn, yeah. So no, I don't think that's completely. If you've gone the full rookie ruck, like all three, that maybe. I mean, that was always too far, probably anyway.
It can work, but it feels volatile.
It's because it does. I think the consensus is that they won't be at their, what max was 140 almost last year and 135. They won't be at that. I don't think. It's sort of maybe 125, possibly still 130, but I don't think 130 is on the cards anymore. It just depends on. Just depends on the game, and if it slows up as the year goes on, sort of get more contest back sort of to the mean from previous years. But I think Gordon Grundy will obviously be ahead. The issue is always just timing, getting them in. That's always the thing, which no one could be stuffed trying to figure out when that'll be, and you can't choose when it'll come either.
Yeah.
You don't choose when he'll have a down game and then this is when this certain rookie tops out and it'll work like that. You can't time these things, and this is why it's always better to start them and just ride the wave, because they're the two best rucks in the game. They have been for 5 years, and that's not going to change, I don't think, until someone puts their hand up.
Yeah, Riley O'Brien doesn't look close at the moment.
Yeah, what's happening with him at the moment?
I'm not sure. He started like this last year, I think, in the preseason. Then he got going for a bit. Maybe he just hasn't adapted to the new rules. Maybe he's really happy with his contract, but I don't think he's built like that. So he's been like a really hard worker for the Crows. He's
He's
always
fit as a
one of the
fiddle.
first
Yeah.
mention. So maybe he's just out of form. I don't know. There's no way you're writing off Rob.
No, hell no.
But yeah, it's maybe just needs to adapt or something. But nonetheless, yeah, as you said, leaving it to timing, it's like, yeah, you're probably gonna have to wait a long while. And Gawn and Grundy, they're probably gonna hover around anywhere between 600 and low 700s all year. It's just gonna be like, it's gonna cost a lot of trades. But at the same time, I suppose you get more must-haves in your team. Maybe you get like Dunkley and Dusty, Oliver McRae and stuff like that. So see how you go. I think it's fine for the time being, but I think with every week that goes by, probably going to get a bit more nervous and more nervous because, how many games are these rookie rucks going to play? If one of them needs a rest or something, because, Freo can give them a rest. They have alternatives if they want. They can just play Darcy full-time ruck and make a spell. Flynn, maybe he needs a spell. We'll see how he goes. Then you're in big trouble because Hunter's gone pretty soon.
Yeah, Rowan's I think is still a week or two away, but then he'll be straight out.
Yeah. So see how that plays out. But I think there was some merit to picking a rookie R2, just a bit more risky, that's all. Now the defenders. Defenders are I have Caleb Daniel, and man, he frustrated me on the weekend because when you see Ridley score so well, it's a lot of points lost there. So is Ridley a must-have, and can he sustain this sort of form?
I think he can. I mean, there's no reason why he can't. Essendon
130 average,
I know, mate. I know. I've got him. Ever since he came on this. I mean, he was around. He was around 2 years ago, and he sort of hasn't played a lot. He played like 5 games or something, wasn't it? Until last year, sort of breaking in. But as soon as you watch him play his first couple of games, you're like, man, this guy's a star. You knew straight away. Like, reads the ball incredibly in the air, and you used it like 90 odd disposal efficiency. Rarely ever wasted possession. It's just it's just points. There's no reason why he can't. Like, you just knew he was going to average 100 plus. So I thought, like, he's at least. You thought there was risk. I don't know why people thought there might have been risk, but I guess you thought maybe there was that little injury in the preseason. But he's too good to not score Supercoach points. That's simple as that. And now compounded with Essendon looking very, very average and getting injuries and probably going to lose the next 8 games in a row.
20.
Yeah, plus. I mean, they get North in round 10, I looked, so you'd think hopefully they'd get one there. But until then, man, they're conceding like 30-odd scoring shots every game, and he takes every kick out and he kicks them long, and it's just points. Like, it's sort of as sad as that is, that's the way to play this game. And so I think he's probably the biggest must-have there is, to be honest. Even past midfielders, like, well, besides Cripps and McRae. Cripps. McRae and Clary. Yeah, besides those two, I feel he's the biggest must-have of Primos.
Yeah, he's just putting in so much work in that defense. He's holding that club together, that franchise together.
So it just reminds me, like, watching the Port game, like, he just, every goal that goes through, you can see Ridge in the background. He's just hands on his knees. He's like, far out, man. Like, how can I stop? Like, he needs help.
Yeah. Because now they lost Heppel for a bit. I don't know how long. And then, so it's just him and Hine doing the rebounding.
And they got hooked up forward as well. So, like, he's just got, like...
He's, like, waving to Rutten, give me a spell. And Rutten's like, no, go back.
Rutten's just cross legs, just sort of, like, not doing anything. I can't believe what that guy's... Like, it doesn't seem like he's coaching. But that's another story. Anyway. What are you going to do? Like, what?
I don't know, dude. It's probably my biggest concern. I just think what could have been if, like, Daniel made me so angry, and I know I've paid before for trading premiums early. I know probably better than anyone, just about.
Yeah.
Let's just say I have 200k in the bank this week, and I don't have any priority trades. So we'll see. I certainly wouldn't advocate trading Daniel. That's really stupid because it's his worst game ever at halfback, and preseason was phenomenal. Round 1 was really good. Scored like 140 in the preseason.
Yeah.
Just the way he plays frustrates me, and watching Ridley just take kick-ins and intercept and push up the ground. Yeah, not ever go to the bench and never miss a kick.
That's the thing. He just off the ground. It's insane.
So yeah, well done on the pick, because I think a lot of the Discord jumped on him later on when they saw him in the preseason, and I just like, nah, I'll just stick with what I got. And yeah, I'm paying big time for it. But yeah, get him in if you can, for sure. Jadeno short, I think we'll speak about next. So didn't actually get much. Well, we were watching the game. We were just like, kick it behind Hawthorn. They just wouldn't miss.
Yeah, you think of no kick outs.
But yeah, he's playing really well. He was getting back a lot, pushing up the ground. That leg of his is pretty deadly. Few 55-meter bombs, even like switching the play as well. It's really nice to watch.
Yeah.
So, is he a must-have?
Not as a must-have as Ridley, obviously. I think he was a pretty easy start. I mean, I've watched this obviously play my whole life, but like the last few years, he's the guy we look for every single time to get it from the back half to the front half. If it doesn't go through him, then we've done it. Like, I think Dimmer will spray everyone, because like those kicks, he'll find the 50-meter pass that breaks a line and opens it up, and easy inside 50 to any of the forwards, or Dusty if he's down there. It's just I've seen it too many times, and he's the one that breaks the line, that gets it through and opens it up. So he's always running behind. I mean, it does look cheap. I guess people don't like it, but most halfbacks do it, and that's just the way the teams want their team. Like, that's the way they want to play. Why not give it to the best kick in your team? Like, why wouldn't you? Why would we give it to Dave Asprey? Like, it's obviously what's going to happen. So,
what about Basher Hooley when he comes in?
But I mean, there are different players. So, of course, Basher probably just takes his overall total, like disposal total, down like a few. But if like Shorty still will get 20 touches, and they'll all be kicks. So I don't see how he doesn't still average 100 minimum, 95 at worst, but 100 minimum I see for him. Like, especially with the new, like the kick out rule, man. That you can kick it to the wing further. Like, every team is doing it. Why you just take the ground? So Basher can't kick that far. I don't see why Basher doesn't come in and still kick outs. He just comes in and he'll steal a few of those disposals, in the back 50. That's he'll just take that total count down. So I'm not worried about Basher. And where is he? Like, is he even due to come back in? I don't know.
I think 1 or 2 weeks.
Well, it was 1 or 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago. So where is he? It's sort of that. It could be that one they just string along, and it's a calf injury from the grand final, mate. And it's what now? April? Like,
he's probably not going to be what he was.
Yeah.
And missed games throughout the year. There's no way he plays 22.
Well, there's no. I don't even think he can. Is he going to come in? That's what I'm sort of.
Oh, really? Because you guys got Baker there as well. He's playing okay.
Yeah, he's a great player, Blake Baker. I don't know. I'm not worried about it. That's as far as
that's the main thing. Okay, that's good to hear. So 2 more players we'll go over before we get to the mid prices in defence. So Jack Bowes. Okay, here's the thing with Bowes. No one's bloody watched Gold Coast North, but we just know the kickouts are still there. I read Markov didn't take any kickouts last week. I'm not sure if he did this week.
Yeah, we don't have the stats yet, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, we need to wait for the stats. So just keep an eye on Jack Bowes, I guess. But I think that all we know right now, I guess, he's taking kickouts, he's racking it up, a lot of uncontested ball, pretty good ball use, and Lukosius is playing unreal on the wing right now. There's a few highlights of Lukosius, really good to watch, of him playing on the wing. So that means that Lukosius has given his points in defence to Jack Bowes. That's pretty much what we know. So I'm not sure if you bring him in or not, but the way things are going, you could if you wanted, I guess. But I do remember his reading a report on his Amy series game. It wasn't that great. But like, how much do you read into that? I think Lukosius was playing a bit more defense that game, and then he pushed up in the wing later on, I think. So I'm not really sure what to say other than that on Jack Bowes, but would you be hurrying to get him in? Do you have anything else to add, really?
With Bowes, I mean, he's a fine pick. He's 130 over 2 games now. Just look for the kick-out stats. I'll tweet him hopefully tomorrow, but that's the way, as I've said, for scoring. It's as long as he's taken, I think, pretty much every kick out that they have. Like you said, I haven't watched the games really, but he's perfect for Supercoach. The thing is, I have full defenders, so I don't see really where he fits or how you would get him in. Like if you're unhappy with Daniel, like we are, I wouldn't trade the boat. Like there's just not a thing I would do. There's too many other things going on and other priorities elsewhere. So if you start him, well done. I think someone posted that the fourth team name is like Jack Bowes Hose or something, and he has him in his team. So congrats. But no rush to get him in, but perfectly fine pick. If
just something, something we just have to monitor.
He's sort of cheap enough where you could do a swing from elsewhere on the field as well. Like Phillips is what,
400.
Yeah, Bowes is not much more than that. Yeah.
Now, Dan Houston. Okay, we need to speak about Dan Houston. So he's a really good player, really good kick. I think he's Caleb Daniel but taller and can defend. So he set up he was involved in a lot of their score involvements, pushed up the ground, a lot of uncontested stuff, but he can do a few contested things as well because he can defend. He looks really good. I think he's primo this year. I'm not sure if he averages, he only scored 80 last week, but 150 this week. Scored really well in the easy wins. Porter going to have a lot of them, had 150 on the Crows in the preseason, where they broke the record for all-time marks in a game. So I think you could pick this if you want. Still pretty cheap. I guess maybe see how he goes for another week, but if you picked him, well done. You'd be very happy. I'm not sure you have to bring him in, but I think he's going to be thereabouts. Would you bring in Houston? Do you think?
I mean, he's better pick than Bowes, in my opinion, slightly.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just that's the Supercoach community, really, doesn't it? After last year, watching this now, but I just think it was he's just had a consistent spell in that role. Like last year he was getting thrown around into the midfield one game, back to defence the next, and it sort of would have killed his momentum a bit. But yeah, now he's settled down back. They've got the midfield going. They're flying. It'll be a great pick, and he'll be one of their best scorers every game.
Yep. Probably, I think he'll contend for All-Australian this year. I feel like Port and Richmond are so far ahead of everyone else. I'm always wrong on predicting teams.
100%. And the depth is crazy. Port's just got Gio coming in, kicking 4 goals. He's not even best 22. Though. It's stupid.
How do they take him out? I think they have to keep him in somehow. It's ridiculous. Spoiled for choice. That forward line is, oh my goodness. How do you stop that?
I don't know.
Rosie's
I'm scared.
Yeah. But finally, Richmond have something to worry about for the first time in 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, they almost pipped this, I guess, last year, but yeah, it'd be good. It'd be good to watch.
Now, 2 mid-prices, I'll probably add Dougal Howard as well. So Dougal Howard, Markov, and Giath. So I'll start off with Dougal Howard. I did watch him play. So I asked you guys in the Discord, and you guys said that he's a pathetic kick. But he's taking kickouts. He's a key defender, so sort of in the Stephen May mold where he's going to have some down games. But yeah, taking kickouts as well. 350k. Any thoughts on Dougal?
I think it's just a kick-out thing, isn't it? Why he's averaging so well.
They missed a lot of shots as well.
Obviously, the enticing thing is his price because it's very cheap for someone that's if he's taking kickouts, has a very decent floor. But I don't like the pick. Other than that, I want more than just the kick-out. He could lock down any time, and he doesn't. I mean, he's had a good start, but I just don't see that continuing. So I'm not looking at him, to be honest, at all, or I wouldn't be.
Another Gold Coast player is Markov. I think they looked for him because he was ex-Richmond player. So I don't think he played many games for you guys, though. I can't remember. But a lot of uncontested stuff. And we haven't seen the kick-out stats yet, but I'm pretty sure he took no kick-outs in the first round. From what I remember anyway. Do you have any thoughts? What was he like at Richmond? Do you think he was a good player or?
He actually was. He could never sort of break into that wing role or half-back role. actually, whenever he did play, he looked good. He's got very good leg speed. I think it was just a bit of his decision making sometimes. But he took the game on, which you can't hate in a player when they take the game on every time they get the ball. So I think he's a fine player. How much is he for Supercoach?
I think he's 300.
300. I think there's better options. There's options down forward at that same price. Just usurp him as being any relevant, I think.
That's a good point.
So,
yeah.
All of this, I'm thinking always think in terms of my own team, to players, and defense is full. I don't really have a spot for a guy like a 300k defender. Anyway, so.
Yep, and then CJ from, I'm not going to try and pronounce his first name, but Jayath.
Yeah, he was probably the best one to start with, I think.
So he's 260k. He turned up in the preseason game. I think he scored like 80 or 70 something last week, and then a 120 this week. He looks pretty good. He racked it up a little bit. Took a few marks in defense. There is some criticism on his disposal. And then seems to be ahead of Scrimshaw, I guess. Scrimshaw was the sub. 260k. Is this probably the best option at this price, would you say?
He was the best one, I think, to start. I mean, look at me. I started Hayden Young. I know a lot of people started Jordan Clark. And to this point, GF's outperformed them both. So obviously probably not a sideways move you'd look to from Clark, or I mean, maybe after one more week you'd give him, but it's still then probably. I mean, if you put up another ton, you'd be sort of hard pressed to ignore it. But well done if you started him. I think he's only like 4% of teams. So yeah, maybe that preseason game obviously wasn't just out of the blue, and he's definitely locked a role down there now. I mean, people I think were concerned about his job security, but you can't be now.
Yeah,
he played really well yesterday.
Someone I'm considering, because now I have 200k in the bank for next week, and I need it. I feel like I don't want to have 200k in the bank for like 4 weeks until I start properly upgrading. So I think I have problems with like Bergman and Rowe at F6. Bergman might lose his spot. We'll see. So we'll see. Anyway, someone I'm actually considering a lot, Jaith, but it'll be next week when he's like 310k instead of 260.
Yep.
So the must-have rookies, there's quite a few. So number one is Gordon.
Yep.
I think he's projected to get to like mid 400s in like 3 weeks.
Well, he's like the fourth mid or something in overall Supercoach.
So I guess there's nothing to say other than have fun and field him. And I guess it's going to be a tough decision when to cut him. Surely
not a keeper. No.
Surely. He's like 140 average nearly. So that's going to be fun to ride out, I guess. James, actually we'll go over the Sydney guys. So Campbell, I think you need to have, even though he's 190k. And then Warner. I think a few people skipped on Warner.
He was the one,
Yeah, you got to have him.
You got to get him.
So you definitely got to have those three. Jimmy Rowe, I still think he's a must-have.
Yeah, I mean, his security's perfect, isn't it? He's not going anywhere.
And then another Crow, Sam Berry. So I think he holds his spot for a while. And Matt Crouch, indefinite groin injury. They don't know when he's going to be back. And when they say they don't know, that does not sound like the short term to me.
No. I mean, do you reckon he would be the first out if he was to be available?
Oh, Crow supporters would be pretty angry if they dropped Youth right now.
Yeah.
He's doing well. Just they got to back him in.
Although David McKay played, so.
Oh, I don't know why he played. That's my only. I'm very happy with the direction of the Crows. First time in quite a long time now.
Yeah.
David McKay. This joke has to stop. So anyway, but Berry I think keeps playing. I don't see how he's dropped. So maybe if Haitley gets like 40 touches in the SNFL, actually the coaches still probably won't be happy with that. But I think they keep playing Berry. And then James Jordan we need. I don't have Jordan. He's a priority over everything for me, just because thinking long term, he's going to make too much money with a mid roll. And then I think we need I think Highmore everyone has. Flynn, if you don't have Flynn on R3, do you get him in? So if you have Meek there, would you go Meek to Flynn?
Oh, that's a good question. I haven't really. I know you looked more into how Meek's going than me, but no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. Um,
Precious trade, I guess.
yeah, I think it is a precious trade. If you've got one or the other, just hold one or the other. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's a waste. I think it's a waste.
And then Jarman Impey is the other one. So yeah, Pete 200k is basically a rookie. Do we absolutely have to have Jarman Impey?
Absolutely have to have is probably maybe a step too far, but I think he's pretty much as close to a must have as possible. We've seen our defenders are scoring, Zeeble and Impey. I think I should have started them both. I cut Impey late, but got to get him in. I mean, he's probably the either best or like second or third, but he was top 3 for them yesterday. Put it that way. So getting him in, absolutely. If you've got, I still prioritize Jordan over Impey. Put it that way. If we had to put it, have a question of the two, purely because of price, and it looks like Jordan's locked in anyway. So definitely go Jordan if you had to pick between the two. But yeah, Impey. If everything else you've got, I think you get him in.
I think he's a must-have. I think there's too much hurt factor for not having him.
The only issue is if people didn't have anywhere to, any way to get him, would you blow up something? Not blow up, but you know what I mean?
Oh, I don't think he's worth 2 trades. That seems excessive.
Yeah,
it's a lot. It's part of a correction of like a Cripps or Neale trade.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That seems like because he's 200k. I mean, obviously you don't trade Zeeble. You don't. There's not. Would you go Caldwell down to him? I think you would in one trade.
Yeah, well, I'm doing Phillips down to him, and I hate that I'm going backwards. But I thought Phillips was a keeper.
Okay.
He's not, and then I just need to have Impey. I don't think Impey's a keeper, but I think he's a chance to be an honourable F6. Okay, that might be a stretch, but it's just the way defenders are going, I guess. And I was super impressed with him, but I'm not sure on his consistency. I think we see somewhere in the 80s average for him. So yeah, that's hard to pass up. Filled in for many weeks. So that's everything for this week. Should be good for this week for round 3. So we'll do a pod come out Monday, I suppose, again. Thanks for joining me, Enno.
No worries, mate. Always a pleasure.
And yeah, we'll see you guys next week.